all, it's Luann Pygott. Welcome to my kitchen on Sunday morning. I am going to make something new today. Yay! So I'm going to make Italian meatloaf. I have never had this, never made this. This sounds so good. I'm make Italian meatloaf. I'm going to make some roasted potatoes. I'm actually going to make some green beans and some green peas. So let me flip this around. And I really want to get this into the oven here. It takes about an hour to cook, so let's get on with it. All right, so I have some chopped onions and peppers here. It says to saute these into a teaspoon of oil. So this is coconut oil. It says use olive oil, but I've heard that you shouldn't heat olive oil because then it's not any longer good for you. I don't know what's the good thing with oil anymore, but I'm using coconut oil. So get a teaspoon of oil. And I cut these up last night ahead of time, so I'm prepared. So that's some peppers and onions. That's a really small onion. Look at these over here. See those onions? Oh, they're the tiniest little baby onions. Okay. So I got one small onion, and it's a half a cup of green pepper. And then I'm going to put it in the oil. It says do that until they're softened. I've never pre-cooked onions and peppers for a meatloaf before. This is what it says to do. So I guess they will definitely be softened in this meatloaf. I'm just going to stir that around a little. We're going to do what it says. Let's cook those in the pan a little. And I got my bowl here. We're going to mix this in. So here, let me show you this picture. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Oh my goodness. All right, so what I'm making, Italian meatloaf. Now I'm going to tell you I am doing one thing different. I don't like breading in meatloaf. It makes meatloaf mushy. I don't know. This is my mother never put bread in meatloaf. My mother and I may be the only people on the planet that don't put bread in meatloaf. I don't know, but you can put the bread in it. I'll tell you what it is. So you need a pound of ground beef. I always use ground chuck when it calls for ground beef. And so what I'm doing, instead of the breading, I'm just increasing the meat a little bit. So I still have kind of like the same volume of ingredients. And I should have one more of those. There we go. I can get it all out. So this is actually a little bit more than a pound because I am not putting in the breading. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to get my other stuff out of the refrigerator too while I'm over here. Okay, these are doing pretty well over here. Check those onions and peppers. Okay, so you would put a pound of ground beef, and then you're going to put a half a pound of mild Italian sausage. Now that's new. I don't normally put sausage in meatloaf, but this is an Italian, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to do what would be half a pound. And again, I'm increasing it a little bit just because of leaving something out. Trying to get that to come loose. It don't want to come loose. Look at that. Come on. Let loose. There you go. Let me get all this stuff out of the way now. Okay, so then what it says to do, add the meats, the onions, and the peppers along with the remaining ingredients. Okay, so the remaining ingredients are, I need a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And you could probably just shake this in if you don't want to measure it, but I'm going to measure it. That way I'll make sure I've got enough. Teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I just kind of spread that all around the meat. Then you're going to have a 1 clove of garlic. Now I don't like cloves of garlic, really. I don't like much garlic. So what I have put in here is actually some garlic pepper. Let me show you that. It's hard to find in the store now. It's McCormick California style garlic pepper. I like that. So I put some of that, and I've got it all mixed here in this little bowl. So I have like half a teaspoon of garlic pepper, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of basil, half a teaspoon of parsley. Okay, so I'm gonna put all that in, and we're gonna mix that up. Then it also tells you to put in an egg, 3/4 cup of Italian breadcrumbs, 2 slices of white bread crumbled, and a tablespoon of milk. Okay, I'm not putting any of that in because I'm not using the bread, so I really don't put eggs in meatloaf. I don't need the egg. I don't need the milk. So we're just doing meat. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm mixing this all together. You really need to do this with your hands. You just can't really mix meat without your hands. And just all of this stuff mixed together. Then what you're going to do, oh, I missed something too. Okay, so I got that somewhat mixed. Now let me go ahead and wash my hands so I can open up my jar. Oh, I got to put these onions and peppers in there. So I would say these are done, and they're also hot, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in. I'll let them cool a minute before I stick my hands back in there. I'm preheating my oven to 400. All that in there. That way, let that cool for a minute. And then I'm going to put some spaghetti sauce in here. It says marinara sauce. So you're going to have a cup of marinara sauce that you're actually going to mix in here. Then you're going to use another 1/2 to 3/4 cup for the topping. All right, let me see here a minute. Oh, then I also need to put in here a cup of shredded cheese. And it says mozzarella, but I'm actually using the Italian blend because it gives you a bunch more cheeses. So you just put all of this in there together and mix it. I also want to take the lid off this pan before I get my hands messy again. And I am going to spray it. Is there any more in there? I'm going to spray it with the pan a little bit. There was a little left in there. Okay, so let me get my cup measure thing here. You're going to put a cup of cheese, and you're going to put more on top. So you're going to put 8 ounces or 1 cup of the shredded either mozzarella or Italian cheese. I'm hoping this is still going to work without me using the breading, but I never make meatloaf with breading, so I think it will. I think it's going to work. It'll work good enough for me. Okay, so there we have that. A 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. I buy this pre-shredded Parmesan cheese from the store, and then I keep it in the freezer, so it never, ever, 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 ever goes bad. And you don't have to thaw it to use it. That's the best part. You just use it straight from in here because see, it's all loose. 1/4 cup. And it will melt really quick, so you don't have to worry about it being frozen. Use it straight from the freezer. Okay, we're going to put that in there. 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. 1 cup of the marinara sauce. You can use whatever kind you want. Or you can even make your own if you want. I like this one because it doesn't. I don't like the one with the big chunks. I like the smooth one. This is tomato basil. This is the one I've been buying because I like it. And I was going to pour in a cup. Ooh, that's going to be messy. Now, you thought it was messy to mix before. It's going to be real messy now. And then we're going to mix all this in. Ooh, yeah. That's a big mess. Look at that. Well, this is like making meatballs, I think. Only it's going to be one big meatball. One big giant meatball. I hope this isn't too much liquid, but this is what it said. I think it'll cook out of it. Following the recipe. Well, it's very liquid. Okay, then I'm going to put that. Oh, yeah, you can see my pan over there on the stove. Here. My hands are all messy now. Can't do much with it. Then, let's see what we say. Place it it in a baking dish of your choice. Okay. Baking dish of your choice. I wonder if that one's going to be big enough for this. I hope so. We're going to find out in a minute. If not, I'll get another one, I guess. Let's get closer. I want the drip. There we go. Into the baking dish of my choice. Spread this out. There we go. Ooh, my hands are messy. All right, let me wash them. Okay, so then, there you go. Ooh, doesn't that look good? Those green peppers in there. Of course, you can leave any of that out you want to. All right, so then it says you're going to spoon a half a cup to a quarter cup, or to 3/4, half to 3/4 of a cup of the marinara sauce on top. Okay, so let's start with half a cup. That's a quarter. There's a half a cup. So like instead of ketchup on top of meatloaf, you're putting the marinara sauce on top. Very interesting, huh? Oh, let's go ahead and put in the other one because that's just more goodness. I'm going to put the 3/4. If it's too much, we just won't eat it. I'll leave it in the pan or something. Okay. Put that on top. Then you're going to put this in the oven. So it says you're going to put it in a 400-degree oven for 50 minutes. That's like 48, 49, 50, 50. You're going to remove it from the oven and you're going to top with an extra 3/4 of a cup of the cheese. Then you're going to put it back in the oven for 10 minutes. Oh, it says you can also sprinkle a little dry basil on top. So the cheese and some dry basil on the top after you've cooked it for 50 minutes, and cook it 10 more minutes and just make sure it's done in the center. So let's put that in real quick and start our timer for 50 minutes. And you don't cover it. There's 50 minutes. Okay? Pretty sure you don't cover it. Yeah, it doesn't say to cover. I never make meatloaf covered. So then, I have our cheese sitting here. So then I'm going to do these potatoes. So let me get this bowl. I'm just going to use this same bowl because it's the right size. So I'm washing it real quick. For a minute here. And let me show you what I did. So I cut up my potatoes last night. Did you know you could cut up potatoes ahead of time without them turning brown? You can. So how do you do that? You soak them in water overnight. Put them in your refrigerator, covered in water. Look, they don't turn brown. And once in a while, the water will turn a little brown, but you just pour the water off. So if you like to prepare ahead of time like I do, and you would love to be able to cut potatoes up the day ahead, you can. I did these last night. Just put them in a pan of water in your fridge. Okay, so let me drain this water off because I actually don't need any water. Because I'm going to roast these in the oven, which I normally don't do, but they are so good. So I'm going to actually pour these through a strainer because I want all the water gone. I don't want any water in this. So let me let them sit there and drain for a minute. I'm just making a lot of racket over here. And I have the pan here. And I'm also going to get that bowl I just did. Let me dry it out. And here's what we need in here. I think my recipe's on my phone. I didn't write down how much oil to put in there. I've got all my ingredients here. It's basil, rosemary, thyme. It's like I think it's a teaspoon of everything. And you just put all these herbs and some oil on your potatoes. The thing is, I forgot to write down how much oil it was. I think it was a couple tablespoons. I wonder if I can check that without ruining the video.